Great. Great in progress.
Okay, so today is Buddha's birthday, and we're gonna celebrate that in the park after the talk. Have a little party. So I want to talk about the meaning of the ceremony that we're going to do at Brahma Park. Basically, the ceremony is about expressing gratitude for the birth of the founder of Buddhism, Shakyamuni Buddha. And we're going to do that. We're going to have a ceremony. We're going to offer incense, tea, sweet water, rice, and other kinds of food, like maybe a little cake, something like that. And for you all online, if you have an altar at home, you can do this too. You can take some of your lunch or a cookie or something like that and offer it to the Buddha and or the beings that are on your altar to show your gratitude. And then later we're going to take those, little treats or whatever that we've offered the Buddha, and we're going to take them out. Some of you will, and take them out and offer them to the beings around in Brahma Park so that, animals can find them and eat them, whatever. Which is usually what we do with offerings after we've done a ceremony. So during the ceremony, we're going to chant a chant, and it's called Seeing the Buddha Right Now. And the chant is from the Ehekoroku, which are the records of things that Dogen had to say. And so this is basically something that he said on the occasion of Buddha's birthday to his Sangha, his monastic Sangha, back in somewhere around 1250, 1240, in there, in Japan. So he said, my root teacher, great master Shakyamuni Buddha, 3,000 years ago, descended from the heavens and took birth in Lumbini Park. He took 7 steps, pointed one hand to the heavens and one hand to the earth, and we have a little statue that's doing this. One hand to the earth and said, above the heavens and below the heavens, I alone am the world honored one. Then Dogen says, this statement is the lion's roar, the baby's cry. Okay, so he's acknowledging that Shakyamuni Buddha is our root teacher as the founder of Buddhism. And before Shakyamuni was born, he was in a place called Tusita Heaven, which is a hangout spot for Buddhas to be before they come down and take their human rebirth when the time is right. And so he was there and realized that it was time for him to be born in his mother's human body, Maya's human body, in Lumbini Park in India. And she was held onto a tree, and Buddha came out, Shakyamuni Buddha came out of her side, able to walk. This actually is a motif in India that sacred beings are born out of the sides of their mothers. So that's kind of interesting. Anyway, so Buddha was born, and he took 7 steps, and he made this statement: above the heavens and below the heavens, I alone am the world honored one, which probably many of you have heard before. So for us in our school, when he said I, he's talking about the universal I. He's talking about the I of no self. He's talking about the I of all beings manifesting simultaneously. So this is not a grandiose statement of some kind of messianic, bringer of the truth. So he said, this is all beings manifesting simultaneously. So it's really a declaration of the moment-to-moment manifestation of the Buddha nature of this Shakyamuni Buddha and all of us as our Buddha nature, as the whole world as Buddha nature, becoming Buddhahood and manifesting that Buddhahood for all beings. And then this lion's roar and the baby's cry. So it's both a statement of wisdom and humility. It's the wisdom of a bodhisattva's last rebirth, which is the lion's cry, and it's also the humble cry of a newborn. So then Dogen goes on and he says, how do you express such a manifestation? In the entire universe and pervading the heavens, good fortune arrives. The grandmotherly intimate heart is expressed by the sage's descent to birth. The grandmotherly intimate heart is expressed by the sage's descent to birth. So when we endeavor to realize this vow of awakening, we reconnect with this good fortune of the teachings, of Buddhist teachings, the transformative good fortune of the teachings. And then we express such a manifestation. And we express it through all the aspects of our practice. We express it through zazen, ritual, and our personal effort in practice, and all these various ways and modes of practicing that we do Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. So Buddhist teachings and our effort to enact the Dharma of Buddhist teachings is felt throughout the entire universe and throughout all of the heavens. And then the grandmotherly intimate heart is a kind of wise heart mind that also exhibits tough love, right? This grandmotherly tough love. So the meaning of grandmotherly intimacy, this practice realization, is that Buddhist teachings require us to take an honest look at, our life, our suffering, the suffering of others, and apply a wise and compassionate heart mind to that suffering and to having a clear eye as to who we are and what we're up to. So this cultivation of wisdom and compassion requires that we have a steady practice and make diligent effort. So this is this grandmotherly love that we have towards ourselves and towards others. It is outspoken, it is clear, it's a lion's roar, it's a baby's cry. The next thing Dogen said was, in this passage, he said, who knows that with each step, he gave birth to many Buddhas. These Buddhas are simply transmitting today's voice with the same life, same place, and the same name in the past, present, and future. Homage to Shakyamuni Buddha. I would say, who knows is a rhetorical question here. So who knows that with each step, he gave birth to many Buddhas. So each step, he gave birth to many Buddhas. So it is said that when the baby Buddha took his 7 steps and said, I alone am the world honored one, at each step, a lotus blossom appeared. So as he walked, these lotus flowers sprung up at each step, and this represents the flowering of the Dharma. It's the birth of the realization of Buddha's way. It is the flowering of the Dharma. It is a flowering of our practice as bodhisattvas. It's the beginning of the ancestors' lineage, which is very important in Zen. It's the beginning of all of the practitioners, known and unknown, who have, from the very beginning, been doing this practice all the way down to our efforts. So then he said, these Buddhas, no, I'm repeating, going over this, these Buddhas, which are each one of us, are simply transmitting today's voice with the same life, the same place, the same name in the past, future, and present. Homage to Shakyamuni Buddha. So this path that we're walking, this 7 steps that the Buddha took, it's not abstract. We are still walking this path today, each one of us. So each step we thoroughly ground into our own lives as they are right now. not in some kind of imaginary life that we're going to live at some point in the future, but actually how our life is right now in the present moment. So each step is our effort to bloom this lotus flower through our practice, through our effort, through our Buddha nature coming forward. And then so this becomes walking the path of awakening, delusion and realization, because that's included too, right? Delusion's included in this. And that we return over and over to Shakyamuni Buddha's way. We just keep coming back and coming back. And then for this reason, we say homage to Shakyamuni Buddha. Homage, I pay homage to this person, I pay homage to this path, I pay homage to the present moment, I pay homage to all of us together, I pay homage to the Sangha and the Buddha and the Dharma. So then he said, we pour fragrant water over the head of the baby Buddha to bathe our elderly brother. This is the principle of bathing the newborn one. So as most of you know, having done the ceremony before, we take a ladle and we ladle water over the head and the body of the Buddha. So when the Buddha was born, dragons in the heaven bathed the baby Buddha with hot and cold water that rained down. And that's another thing, the earth shook 6 or 7 ways and just, like all hell broke loose. And these dragons rained down this water, hot and cold water. Hopefully it was warm water, paying homage. And then Dogen also said, to bathe our elder brother, this is the principle of bathing the newborn one. So this elder brother, we look to the Buddha as being our elder brother, yet the Buddha is still an infant. In the Buddha Dharma, all of this is possible because we are both the dragon, we are the baby Buddha, we are ourselves, we are the elder brother, we are the younger sister, we are any permutation of this that we can think of throughout time and space. And each moment throughout time and space reflects and influences all other moments throughout past, present, and future. So it's like a mandala. It's a holograph with all the points touching and blossoming. Then the rest of this goes on. Dogen said, and he refers to himself in the third person, which is not uncommon in these discourses that he gave. He said, the teacher Dogen said, great assembly, do you want to see the birth of the world honored one? Well, goodness, who doesn't, right? Dogen held up his whisk and he drew a circle and he said, the world honored one has been born. In the entire world, in 10 directions, in mountains, rivers, and lands, all the human beings and all sentient or insentient beings and all Buddhas in the 3 times in the 10 directions, all have been born simultaneously with Gautama, that's another word for Shakyamuni Buddha, with Gautama, the world honored one. Not one thing is born before or after. Not one thing is born before or after. So Dogen recreates the birth of Shakyamuni Buddha by drawing essentially an enso, a circle of realization in the air with his whisk. And this circle of realization is not just about realization, it's also about response. He's making a response at this moment. So when you see this, you see the Buddha. And with this circle, you also see all beings, all mountains, all rivers, the totality of reality itself manifesting in that moment. And they are born in this moment because when we realize this moment, we are born with everything that is born with us in this moment simultaneously as we are born in the moment of its realization of ourselves. So this is never not happening. This is always happening throughout time and space. So this round circle of realization is etched by Dogen Zenji. And essentially it's etched by all of us. And I love the fact that it's in the air because there is no trace. It happens, it affects, it brings forth the Dharma, and it's gone. And then there's the next moment and the next moment. So this practice realization is birth without end. Practice, realization, birth, death, nirvana as one thing. Practice, realization, birth, death, nirvana, one word, is non-sequential. So this is not linear logic, yet it is with logic because Buddha nature is always present, sing. And that's why Dogen said, not one thing is born before or after that. So when you experience awakening each moment and the Dharma arises to meet and affirm that awakening, all Dharmas. So there's the Dharma, capital D as teachings, but there's a Dharma, small d, which is everything that you can name. So these Dharmas come and meet us in this moment as we meet and affirm. And that meeting and affirmation is awakening. So you may be aware of this and you may not be aware of this. Nevertheless, it's true. At least we believe it's true. And that all things are intimately functioning together to make the world. So then Dogen said, drops of water do not fall in different places. What is this principle of not falling in different places? If we do not transmit the Dharma and save living beings, our practice cannot be considered to repay the kindness of the Buddha. So if we do not transmit the Dharma and save living beings, our practice cannot be considered to repay the kindness of the Buddha. So in the Lotus Sutra, it's a really famous sutra in Soto Zen and other schools of Zen, especially in the Japanese lineages, schools of Zen, schools of Buddhism. So the Buddha says to his disciple Mahakashapa, he said, by the pouring of the one rain, all becomes fresh and glossy. So this one rain is the Dharma rain. So the rain of the Dharma. By the pouring of the one rain, all become fresh and glossy, just as their bodies, forms, and natures are divided into great and small, so the enriching rain makes each flourish. In the same manner, the Buddha also appears in the world. So the Buddha is able to meet every situation with this, metaphor of the Dharma rain. As that person or that situation needs to be addressed, that rain is one rain falling on all beings. So our effort and practice is this Dharma rain. That's what we are trying to aspire to. So we don't just practice for ourselves. Practice expresses gratitudes. It expresses gratitude for Buddha's teachings. It expresses gratitude for all the Buddhas and ancestors who came before us. It expresses gratitude for right this moment. It expresses gratitude for the future, and it expresses gratitude for the past. And this practice benefits all being. And then finally, the last part of this is, what is this principle of transmitting Dharma and repaying kindness? We will descend from the seat and together with the great assembly go to the Buddha hall and respectfully bathe the pure Dharma body of the Tathagata. Again, another word, another name for Buddha. So he says, how are we going to do this today, right now, in front of the assembly on Buddha's birthday? He says, how are we going to transmit the Dharma and repay this kindness? And he said, we're going to get down from the seat. So he's sitting on the Dharma seat. I'm sitting on the Dharma seat. In his case, he was probably in a more elevated platform. He says, I'm going to get down from this platform and we're all going to go to the Buddha hall. And in our case, we're all going to go to Brahma Park and do this ceremony. He says, the great assembly. So we are the great assembly. We're going to go to Brahma Park and respectfully bathe the pure Dharma body of the Tathagata. So I think, this reminds us of our true nature. It strengthens our vows when we do this ceremony. We read these read these kinds of sermons, if you will, that Dogen gave, and what we're gonna, this is our chant. And then we repay the kindness of Shakyamuni Buddha, and we do this through our actions. So the statue of the baby Buddha that we're gonna bathe has the same power as the thing itself. So we are not doing something to represent something else. The thing that we are doing is actually the thing itself. And our teachings, that is the thing itself. It is we are the dragons pouring hot and warm water on the baby Buddha. At that moment of our activity of doing that is the same moment of the activity of when the Buddha was born, and there is not a gap time at all. So that is what the activity we're engaging in. It's not symbolic. We are the dragons bathing the baby Buddha. We are paying homage to the baby Buddha. We are all the Buddhas. And you are just you. It's simultaneously, you are born crying and you are born with a lion's roar, wise and responding, caught and free simultaneously. So all these contradictions that we experience, and so did Shakyamuni Buddha, all of these contradictions are this rain of the Dharma falling from one cloud, flourishing and nourishing all of us, even though sometimes it doesn't feel very nourishing. It is those problems that motivate us to respond to our life and to benefit beings and to try to figure out how all this works. So let us pay homage and have gratitude for this activity, the opportunity to do this activity. So thank you very much. And if you can come to Brahma Park, that would be great. And I don't think anybody online is going to be coming to Brahma Park. Janet's coming. All right. So that's good. I think Doug's in Canada and Ronnie's in Hawaii. So you can, and you guys can transport your bodies. You can teleport. We'll know that you are there in spirit.